What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition.
Bright and early on a Saturday morning, it's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. Hope everybody having a great Saturday morning. I'm Perry White. I want to welcome everybody that is listening live on our 107.3 FM across the Baton Rouge capital city area on the radio, and everybody listening and watching on the YouTube and the Facebook Live. Glad to have you guys with us. Listen, great show lined up for you guys today. We're going to talk some Southern University and SWAC softball. We're going to have an opportunity to talk to Dr. Travian Scott over at Grambling State, the athletic director at Grambling, as well as Dr. Paul Bryan over at Alabama A&M, who is the athletic director there. Get an opportunity to get some understanding of what's going on in some of those departments and where they're headed into the future, because they're hiring basketball coaches. We have coaching changes all across the conference, but at the same time, we get a chance to talk some Southern University football today, as well as today is the spring game on the campus of Southern University at A.W. Mumford Stadium. That game is going to start at 1 o'clock. And as you know, in the past, we've had defensive coordinator Coach Henry Miller. We've had offensive coordinator Coach Mark Frederick, as well as the head ball coach himself, Coach Terrence Graves, talk to us about the team. Trying to figure out where this team is going to go into the 2025 season. A lot of pieces to rebuild and to add and replace on this football team this year. So, just a great show we got lined up. Hope everybody had a great week. NCAA basketball is officially over with. College basketball, the Florida Gators. I didn't see this one coming now. I told you guys in my bracket last week when we discussed it, I said I had Auburn and Duke in the national title when we was looking at the Final Four, but ultimately it came down to Florida and Houston. Of all the two schools that I never saw that one coming this year, but Florida, no doubt about it, went on a run in the NCAA tournament. They went on a run as well during the SEC tournament. They were a really good team throughout the year. They pulled it off, and they are now the NCAA basketball national champions on the men's side. Then we look on the women's side. How about UConn? Getting past South Carolina. Coach Dunn, I thought, could have had that one in it, but it got away from her early. And South Carolina never could quite really regain themselves in that game. And UConn are 2024-2025 women's basketball national champions. So both Florida and University of Connecticut men and women basketball champions, and, you know, having an opportunity as well as talking to Coach KJ, Coach Kevin Johnson at Southern University, and then Coach Carlos Funches. Hats off to them. Tremendous job both those coaches did this year as we wrap up basketball and kind of put a bow on it at this point, because now moving forward is basically just NBA and baseball. So, but to put a bow on, I mean, the NBA. So to put a bow on what's going on there, you know, it was what a hell of a season for the women's basketball team, wrapping up as the regular season champs, as well as then going on, taking on the SWAC tournament, beating Jackson State, beating Alcorn. You win the SWAC tournament. They go on into the NCAA tournament and become the first SWAC women's basketball team to ever win an NCAA tournament game. It was the first four in. It was the top 16. I mean, the two 16 seeds playing against each other. And they get a victory over UC San Diego and then move on to have to take on the number one seed in the nation and the number one seed in that region, the UCLA Bruins on the women's side, which was a tough game. Southern's defense on the women's side gave them fits and gave them hell for about a half of basketball, but then on the other side, you saw the separation with the efficiency of shooting offensively for UCLA. And then for Southern's men, you know, Coach Johnson in his second year goes and wins the SWAC regular season title. But unfortunately, Southern fell short in the quarterfinal of the SWAC basketball tournament to our rival Grambling State. And Grambling gets the victory, moves on. Southern season comes to an end, and you know, we talked to Coach KJ about the possibility of postseason. He said the NCAA changed the rule a couple years ago. It used to be regular season champs got automatic bids into the NIT. And I thought a lot of our fans, talking with them and having conversations, we all believe that at some point maybe Southern, with the season that they had with non-conference victories against Louisiana Tech and against Tulsa, and then just the losing 3 games during the regular season in conference play by a combined 3 points. Twice to Alabama State, 1 point there, 1 point in Baton Rouge, and then 1 point loss on the road at Bethune-Cookman. You thought the body of work and the resume would have been enough to get Southern into postseason on the men's side, but it was not. And so now we have to rebuild. We have to look at what the future is going to look like in this program going into year 3 of Coach Kevin Johnson. But I think nonetheless, man, when you look at that program, it is definitely headed in the right direction. And he talked about it. Finding that experience, bringing back guys with experience. That was the success that he accredited to Alabama State. Alabama State, of course, winning the SWAC basketball tournament, the only team to sweep Southern during the regular season. They go on into the NCAA tournament. They win a game over St. Francis in the opening round and then move on to take on Auburn, who was the number 1 seed this year. But I think overall, when you look at the direction, not only of basketball at Southern, but basketball as a whole in the SWAC, I think we're starting to see things move forward and move up better than what we've seen in the past. And that's one of the reasons why we're going to have the conversation today about basketball coaches, about athletic departments, and where are we looking at and going into the future, and can we eventually, as a conference, play ourselves out of that first 16 seed matchup, or do we like that first 16 seed? It gives you an opportunity to win a game against a formidable opponent, and at the same time, the conference gets a payout from the NCAA and the tournament itself. So that's the conversations I want to have today, because, you know, a lot of people say, well, we get tired of being the 16. Can we get the 15, 14 seed if we can continue to boost our body of work as a conference? And that's the question, the $1 million question that we're willing to see. But I think we're headed in the right direction on both men and women. We saw Alcorn for the second consecutive year on the women's side competing for a SWAC championship as they They played in the championship last year against Jackson State and then this year against Southern. So every year, Alcorn is that team knocking at the door on the women's side. Then on the men's, as I continue talking about building, look at Reggie Theus and Bethune-Cookman. Bama State this year. You look at Jackson State and Coach Mo Williams. Programs are starting to build up. Now, Texas Southern did not seem like the Texas Southern of the past this year. We've seen Texas Southern get hot in the tournament and go on and win the title out of the tournament, but this year Texas Southern just didn't seem to be the upper echelon of the conference as we saw Bethune-Cookman and Jackson State being right there. And so, man, this is going to be interesting as we talk about some basketball, get into football on the other end, talking about the spring game. 1 o'clock today if you're just tuning in, the spring game at A.W. Mumford Stadium. Now, don't go out there expecting fireworks. Don't pull up thinking it's the Bayou Classic, all right? The coaches aren't going to show you too much, but it does give you an opportunity. It's football in the air, and it gives you a chance to see some of these guys, who's returning, who's new, get a chance to see the coaches at work. And so once you culminate all that together, it should create a great day right there on the bluff. As we got softball as well, and that's what we're going to be talking to next after we come out of this break. Coach Brittany Williams, Southern University head softball coach, is going to talk to us about the weekend and what they have in store for you as the fans and for the young ladies as they're taking on Texas Southern this weekend. So, Mike, let's get ready to take a break. When we come back on the other side, we'll have Coach Brittany Williams, and we'll talk some Southern University and SWAC softball. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
Quincy Richard is the quarterback. And Don, this is a man who's really changed his game from last season, and he's a graduate student as well.
Yes, he has, Bob. Quincy Richard has matured into the unquestioned leader of this Southern University offensive attack. 10 wins this season, and he set school marks for passing yards and touchdown passes. And Bobby's had a lot of help. Only 5 sacks on the season.
He earned his undergraduate degree back in August. He's taking some master's classes, and he wants to be a lawyer.
Here's Richard looking at the end zone. Has a man there. Touchdown, Southern University.
Play clock down to 3. Richard gets it off over the middle. Touchdown!
Holmes goes in motion and comes set on a 1st and 10. Richard completes it. That's Ard. Ard down the sideline. He could go. And finally pushed out of bounds. Richard's run for 10 touchdowns this season. He's going to keep it. Richard goes in. Make it 11 for Quincy Richard. Richard wide open. Touchdown, Chris Davis. Oh, does he love playing football even more now?
That in the flag against Grambling, holding on the kickoff.
Richard looking deep, and it's a touchdown.
But only 3 times did he go down. Twice he ran out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. It goes down as a sack.
2nd and 8. The deep ball, and that's our man, Chris Davis, for the touchdown. Time for today's State Farm Players of the Game. And from Southern University, the quarterback, number 15, Quincy Richard, 34 of 42, 552 yards, 5 touchdown passes.
Quincy, on behalf of State Farm Insurance Companies, I want to present you with a trophy for the most outstanding player today. Congratulations.
All right, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. It's 7:18 a.m. I'm Perry White. Thank everybody that's tuned in on the radio across the Baton Rouge capital city area on 107.3 FM, and everybody watching and listening across our YouTube and Facebook lives and everywhere else. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify, wherever you may be listening. Want to appreciate you guys for tuning in this morning. And anytime, whether you go back and listen after the show, sharing it, whatever the case, appreciate you guys for the support. And as we continue to move on with today's show, I'm out of the studio, but that does not stop the Jaguar Journal, as we got a very special guest this morning. She is the head softball coach over at Southern University. No stranger to the show, Coach Brittany Williams. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. Good morning, Jaguar Nation.
All right, big weekend over at Southern University for you guys as you're getting things going. It is senior weekend. Let's talk about senior weekend. Coach playing Texas Southern, a team you and Texas Southern knocking on the door, and you get the victory against Texas Southern yesterday, 6-5. Let's talk about this senior weekend before we get into the game.
Okay. Yes, we're really excited about this weekend, getting to honor those seniors, and it's a special one for me. This class, I did not recruit this class. However, this is the first class that was underneath my belt. So I've had all 4 years with these guys. They know me. They are great leaders for the team. So it's a very special one, being able to honor these guys today.
How many seniors are we looking at on this softball team that we're going to lose?
We have 5. 4 that's played the 4 years with me, and 1 she's a graduating senior, so came in with the dual enrollment classes, bio major, and decided to graduate a year early so she can get a head start into her career. So I think that's awesome as women, too, getting out there and bio. I mean, that's hard to graduate a year early in. So I'm really super proud of her getting that job done and giving me the years that she had to help us succeed. And now she's going out, in the real world. So I'm excited for her.
Give us the name of the rest of these seniors so we know who they are, because they're about to be some alums of Southern University.
Yes. So we have Alani Otley. She's number 1. She's our third baseman. Been starting there for 3 years now. We have Alana Mark, who is my first baseman. She was all SWAC last year. Assuming going to be all SWAC this year as well. Definitely going to miss her. We have Alyssa Castaneda, who is my shortstop and second baseman. She's played both for me in the past 4 years. Started since she's been a freshman as well. And then we have Asia George, who is my center fielder. Been out there for 4 years. I mean, can cover literally the whole field if I needed her to. So those are my guys. And then Jacelyn Frazier, she's the one that I mentioned was the bio major.
And we look back last week as we're talking about these seniors, but the team as a whole, you were on the road at Prairie View. You guys win the series 2-1. You win game 1 and game 3 of the series. And then now you come home this weekend, senior weekend, game 1 yesterday against a really tough Texas Southern team. You guys sneak it out, get it done 6-5. Talk about this team and the progression that's going on in the season as you guys are above 500 now in conference play.
Yes, that's something that that was our goal. That's something that we've been working on. The PV win was huge for us. PV hasn't lost a series in, I want to say, over 3 years now. So we gave them that first series loss, and that motivated us to keep pushing. We have been on a journey since California. We've been talking about it's a marathon, so getting hot towards the end. And these girls have been digging, they've been grinding, they've been listening, they've been applying, and it's kind of been our MO the whole time. So I'm glad to see that they are able to see that their work coming out.
You got game 2 today against Texas Southern. First pitch is going to be at 12 noon, and then game 3 today is going to be at 2:30. So for people that's out around the bluff on the yard today, checking out the Southern University spring football game, make sure to get over for the Southern University softball senior weekend. Anything special going on this weekend over at the stadium?
Yes, so 11:30 we'll be honoring the seniors. They will kind of give their favorite memories about the program and give their advice back to the team as well. So 11:30 we'll start that, and then the game starts at 12. I mean, like you mentioned, we have a lot going on the Bluffs today. We have baseball as well after us. So you might as well go ahead and pack up your stuff and pack up your lunch and then come on out and enjoy a good day of football, softball, and baseball at Southern.
Let me ask you this, Coach, now for you guys' game. It's going to be beautiful while you guys are playing. Is the softball stadium crawfish friendly for those fans out there who may want to eat a little crawfish and sit back and watch you guys play?
It is definitely crawfish friendly. I do ask that you bring a pound for the coach. I will let you do that. Just bring me a pound. That's it.
Y'all hear it now. The coach say bring her a pound. Coach Williams say if you're going to bring some crawfish, don't forget about her. And don't forget about those seniors as well, as they've been giving that hard work for Southern University on the softball side. Coach, let's kind of look at the SWAC standings right quick. And you go and we talk about some of these teams as, you know, it'll be before you know it, we'll be talking about the SWAC softball tournament. But let's start over in the East right now. And starting at the bottom, Mississippi Valley State 0-18 in conference play. They're 2-30 on the season right now, riding a 13-game losing streak. Alabama A&M, the Bulldogs, at 6-10 in conference play, 15-21 overall in conference play. Then Jackson State at 9-6 in conference play, 19-18 overall. Now we look at the top three teams over in the East. Alabama State at 10-6. They're 12-28 on the season. Bethune-Cookman 12-5 in conference play, 19-23 on the season. And then at the top of the SWAC East, Florida A&M, the Rattlers are 12-4 in conference play, 16-7 in conference play. The Rattlers are riding a 3-game win streak. The Bethune-Cookman Wildcats are riding a 6-game win streak over in the SWAC East in softball. Coach, anything you know about those programs on the East side?
Yes, I mean, I've been saying this for a long time. FAM is tough. They got it all. And then they have a new coach over there who's a great coach and also a great person as well. So that side, it's going to be tough. I'm ready to see how the rest plays out because the records are close. They're at the top right now, but, you know, like you said, Bethune is just one behind them. So I'm interested to see how that side's going to play out.
Now let's look over in the SWAC West where we reside at the bottom. Alcorn State 4-11 on the season in conference play. They're 9-20 overall. UAPB 5-11 in conference play, 10-24 overall on the season. Then there's Grambling State at 5-6 in conference play. They're 12-19 overall on the season. Then here goes Southern. You guys are right here at 7-6 in conference play and 16-17 on the season, currently riding in a 2-game win streak. Texas Southern, this weekend's opponent in Baton Rouge, they're 10-5 on in conference play and 10-17 overall. And then at the top, you talked about the team Prairie View. You guys were able to win the series against them. They're 12-3 in conference play, 18-17 overall. Talk about that SWAC West, because that's where we're at. These are the teams we're going to see the most. And it has been a tough sled, but you guys have found a way at 7-6 in conference play to pull off some victories.
Yeah, so we're a series behind everyone. So we still have Graham to play at the end. That's a makeup series. So our MO right now is to go ahead and get Texas Southern, looking to sweep them so we can solidify one of those top spots. So we're going to continue to work to do that and see how the rest plays out. We just have to do our part.
Looking at Texas Southern, they're 2, you guys are 3 in the SWAC West. What is it about Texas Southern when you scout them and prepare the young ladies to go out there and take them on? What do you see on film as well as on paper of Texas Southern?
They're very good offensively. 1 through 9, they always find a way to put the ball in play. They're just young. So for us, we're a more experienced team. We have all 5 seniors that are contributing to our roster right now. So letting that experience kind of overpower what TSU is bringing to us. We have a stronger staff in the mound as well. So I'm excited to see what my pitching staff brings to the game today.
Talking about your pitching staff, and then you're looking at your staff. Talk about the staff. The who helps you make this thing run each and every day.
Yes, so Miranda Rolden is our ace. She typically pitches the first and the last game for the series, has held it down to minimal scores. As you can see, our wins or our losses have been by one run. So she has definitely kept us in the game. And then behind her, we have Kyra Williams. We have Aaliyah Zambala, Jordan Jennings. We have Shakirius and Emma, who normally come in and close for us as well. And what I really love about this staff is that all of them can hit. So that's been fun, making a lineup with the pitchers in the lineup that allow them to hit, which will allow a position player to focus, strictly on defense. So that's given us a little advantage.
And for everybody out there that's listening, softball, of course, it is senior weekend against Texas Southern. Then softball will be back, be on the road on Monday, taking on Xavier down in New Orleans at 11 o'clock at 1:30. So for all our listeners down in New Orleans, if you want to get a chance to check out Coach Brittany Williams and Southern University softball, they'll be in New Orleans on Monday. First pitch at 11 a.m. against Xavier, and the second pitch at 1:30 on Monday. Coach, where is that game going to be played down in New Orleans?
It's on Magazine Street. So
Okay.
I'm not sure what field it is, but they switched locations. As they used to play at the MLB Park, but now they're on Magazine Street.
And then you'll be back home next weekend hosting Alcorn State. So get a chance to get another series in next week at home for those that are out there listening. Coach, you got anything for the fans before we get ready to get off?
Yes, come check us out. These games have been exciting, like down to the wire. Like we've been winning them in either extra innings or in the 7th inning. So it's definitely something to see.
But that's the voice of Coach Brittany Williams. She's the head softball coach over at Southern University. It's senior weekend. Get over there and get a chance to check out Southern University today. Game 2, first pitch is going to be at 12, and Game 3, that first pitch is going to be at 2:30. So get a chance to check out Coach Williams. Cheer on those seniors and cheer on Southern as they're in a tough battle with Texas Southern. 2 versus 3 from the SWAC West. So we got to make sure the Jaguars get it done. Hey, Coach, thank you this morning for making time and coming on. And, hey, good luck to you guys today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, let's get ready to take a break. When we come back on the other side, we'll have Dr. Travian Scott, the athletic director up at Grambling State. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be back more of the Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
T.R. Ricks is a fifth-year senior who's getting his first chance to drive the train that Bob talked about. And right now, he's driving it quite well because the Southern Jaguars are kicking butt in the SWAC conference. As Bob mentioned, 6-0 overall in the SWAC, and T.R. Ricks has played so well, over 2,000 yards passing. In the last 3 games running the football, he's been over 100 yards on the ground. The respect factor that he gets from his teammates is incredible. As a fifth-year senior who's never started, they elected him captain. And the numbers he has put up are represented on your screen. 27 total touchdowns on the offense, a pass percentage of nearly 60%. He could be the SWAC Player of the Year on the offensive side.
Best, and they're going to get a huge dose of the best offensive player in the SWAC, and that being Thomas Ricks.
Yeah, what Thomas Ricks has found a way to do is just beat defenses either with his arm, with his feet, or with his leadership capabilities, finding a way to win the games late with fourth quarter comebacks. He showed versatility and athleticism. He's a tremendous athlete that knows how to win, most importantly.
He really is a leader both on and off the field.
I just think it has come to a maturity level. I have a 4-year-old son, and, when he was born, I had to grow up fast and, just staying in school and practicing every day, trying to get better every day, just so he can have a better future. It's just been my inspiration. So, I just think that's my motor that drives me and, keeps me in the game.
His 4-year-old son, Collier, has not missed a game this season. They throw the football around in Rick's dorm room at Southern, and he says it's great playing football with Collier. 1st and 10. Ricks. He's got Vernon. Vernon makes the catch at the 45.
They can run the entire offense with all those guys in the game.
Ricks to Vernon. 1st down. Holmes in the backfield. Ricks. 1st down. Gage on the tackle, but not until Ricks picks up the 1st down. 2nd and 7. Ricks. Overstreet's got it. Across midfield. Ricks has a receiver downfield. It's caught for a touchdown. Territory. Ricks fakes the pitch. Gets inside the 15.
He's in the type of young men that represent his philosophy in life and in football.
Ricks in a shotgun. He's going to run it out to the 10. And 2nd and 11 after the holding penalty. Sidearm toss.
All right, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. I'm out of the studio today, but nonetheless, it does not stop the show as we keep things going. Good morning to everybody listening across the Baton Rouge, capital city area on Talk 107.3. Glad to have you guys with us and everybody else. So, hey, listen, we're going to have a very on the show this morning. He is no stranger to Southern. He's a Southern grad, and he's also the head guy up at Grambling University. He's the vice president for intercollegiate athletics. Want to welcome to the show this morning my man, Dr. Travian Scott. Good morning, Dr. Scott.
Hey, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hear you well. Mike, how we sound? We good, Mike? Okay, we all good. Mike back at the studio say we good. Man, Dr. Scott, good to have you on this morning, man. As always, love to have conversations with you because your honest thought into how you make things work up there at Grambling. And big news for you guys this week is you just named a new head basketball coach. Let's jump into that, coach, Dr. Scott, and talk about your new coach.
Yeah, Patrick Crary, the second, comes to Grambling by way of Florida A&M. Was there for a season, historic season for them. As a matter of fact, I think they were trending, thinking about a 2 or 3 seed before the end of the season, the last, I guess, weekend. Before that, he was at St. Thomas University down in Miami. Prior to that, he was Washington and Venice in the D.C. DMV area. Extremely bright, articulate, fierce competitor, high IQ guy, recruits his tail off. Understands this league, understands where we are resource-wise, but also, is someone who understands the foundational aspects of building a program without losing the momentum that we have now. So I think that's important. When you have those two things, I think it plays well for more of a sustained level of success, right? It's great to win it one year. And then the next year you may be, a little inconsistent with it. But I think his approach is something that will play well up on Exit 81.
You look at Grambling basketball last year, you guys go off and win your first NCAA tournament victory ever in school history. This year you guys win the opening round. You knock off the SWAC regular season champ Southern University, the rival in the court. Huh?
You remember that, huh?
We can't forget that, man. Come on, look. Coming out with the regular season champs, we expected, we were thinking, but when I saw the draw, it's like, man, that's a tough draw. Grambling 3 times in the season is tough, and getting past Grambling twice in the regular season, we knew it was going to be a tough game as it went into overtime. But you found success when it mattered and winning that quarterfinal game in the SWAC basketball tournament. But for you, with this program headed in the direction, what is your vision for basketball at Grambling State, in which we often talk so much about the G in football, but now basketball is starting to become a reality of a good program at Grambling?
Yeah, and not just basketball, but baseball. Won a championship last year. Soccer's played before this year, played for a championship 5 years straight and won one. Softball's coming along. Track and field, we're taking a little bit of a different approach with. But, football, we anticipate, them turning the corner this year. But, basketball is obviously near and dear to me. But, we've got, two hell of a basketball coaches. Again, 2 fierce competitors, 2 relentless recruiters, two folks who will really, especially in the sense of Pat, will ingratiate himself. But Simmons has ingratiated herself within the community. And so, right now, it's about climbing to the top of the mountain and trying to stay there. we will not exhaust any. We will exhaust all resources to help them get there. Obviously, in this new era that we find ourselves in college athletics with the House settlement and NIL, rev sharing, and all of those different financial, elements that impact college athletics. But yeah, I often say, and I said this last year, going into any SWAC basketball weekend, I've never in the last 2 years gone into a weekend thinking that both of our basketball teams were going to lose. And with the addition of Coach Crary to replace Coach Jackson, I'm going to feel that way moving forward. And so, that doesn't mean we're going to win them all, but that means that we got the best person or people in place to do this job, and we expect them to be able to compete for championships right away. So, really excited about that. I'm looking forward to it. Coach Crary came in. He got in on Thursday. We spent all Thursday night with he and his family. Obviously, spent most of the morning with him, and I've already got a call from him this morning, right? And so, we're moving the program forward under his leadership, and we're excited about what's to come.
As an athletic director, of course, as fans, we often sit back and we'll throw names here and there for jobs. And, we often feel we can be athletic directors from our keypads, typing something in or sitting on our couch. But the actual process of looking for a coach, and in particular this one, basketball, what was that process like for you, especially at such short notice with losing your previous coach and then having to go out and find somebody to replace?
All right, I'm gonna give you a timeline. I'm all things truth, and I'm very candid. First and foremost, you obviously appreciate calls of interest and letters of interest. But it's kind of a mixed bag. Sometimes the reality of it is if you got a call and recommend, you kind of already on the outside. So it's that point. Not saying that that's always 100% true, but in most cases it is, right? So here's the reality. 12:36 p.m. on Wednesday, Coach Jackson makes us aware of him, moving forward to Alabama A&M, right? After those conversations were held, then we go into, a mode that obviously we planned for, but we didn't expect to happen, right? So what does that look like? Well, the first thing you got to do is you got to let your president, right? So there's a communication piece of it. So that happened. Then for us, state law requires you having to post the job, right? We knew that the portal was open. The portal will be closing here in the next week and a half, 2 weeks. We knew if we waited on having the conversations to bring potential head coaches in, that we would lose that momentum, right? We knew that. Again, in this new era, players can transfer from year to year. When a coach leaves, a student athlete can leave. They could either go with him, or they've got 30 days if the portal's not even open to decide they want to get in. So all of these things are at play. So at that point, make the president aware, immediately move to have the job posted open, just to put us in a position where we could have an accelerated search. I said yesterday we were very comprehensive, but very intentional and specific as to what we wanted in terms of a profile of a coach. The good thing about being notified on Wednesday was that the Final Four and the coaches convention took place Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? So, once we got the communication piece up to Dr. LaMelle, the HR piece taken care of, now we're working on travel, right? So we're headed to San Antonio. Obviously could have jumped on a plane by myself, but decided to drive because I wanted to make sure we had a couple of athletic senior staff members with us to be able to help us get more done. So we head down Thursday night. We get out late. We get there 10, 11 o'clock Thursday night, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we go, all out. We're having structured conversations, not necessarily interviews. Getting to know folks, having conversations, breakfast meetings, lunch meetings, dinner meetings, having sidebars at events, and we began to kind of amass a list of candidates that we knew were strong. All the while the job posting was open, and again, it's still, in that comprehensive setting. So from there, job has to stay up for 5 days. HR at Grambling did a wonderful job, putting up with me and my shenanigans regarding this search. And so, we were able to, because we were up against that 5-day timeline, to start interviewing on Monday. So, Monday morning at 7:30, I'm convening a panel, charging a committee, and we're interviewing Monday evening, Tuesday. Late Tuesday night, I'm going through a process with our team, and trying to figure out where we're going in terms of who's the guy, all right, and who's the second and the third guy, right, if something, falls through, obviously. Then we go into, of course, having conversations with the president, making a recommendation. Then we have to talk to agents, representatives. Then we've got to worry about the logistical piece of it. How do we get that candidate here with his family in a short amount of time? And obviously, and I kind of skipped the save the date on Tuesday. When we did the save the date, we did not know who the candidate was going to be. We knew we would have a press conference on Friday, regardless of who it was, right? And so, we set that expectation early because that's the way it has to be. Again, in this new climate of college athletics and understanding what it's going to take to keep the momentum going in this program. So I'm very excited about Coach Crary. I'm very proud of our committee members, Taylor Stewart, my right hand and chief of staff, Terry Lilly, our dean of students, Marcus Kennedy, over student engagement, Tavius Maddox, we call him junior AD, was our student representative. Who am I missing? Theo Calle, one of our vice president of strategic research in Title III. And so, we all banded together, with HR, with our COO's office, to get this done. Coach Crary was the best candidate. I'm excited because, you have these guys, man, and basketball has got really competitive, right? And sometimes, you think you have somebody and, you don't see them in their element. Well, I've had an opportunity to witness Coach Crary, his passion, his fire, his knowledge of the game, his personality, how he handles his players firsthand. And I've also seen him, go against, opposing coaches in this league, with the depth that we have now. Johnny Jones has been to the tournament. Byron Smith at Prairie View has been to the tournament. Your guy KJ down there is just, whooped up on everybody pretty good this year. Now you got Dante going to Alabama A&M, right? Reggie Theus is a future NBA Hall of Famer. He won. Of course, Pat was in Alabama A&M. Alabama State won the NCAA tournament. And I don't know if people realize it because we like to pick on Mississippi Valley, but George Ivory has coached in an NCAA tournament before. That's how much depth we have with these head men's basketball coaches in our league. And so with that, you needed a guy who really had the presence, who really understood what it meant to oppose those guys and come out victorious. And we have that in Coach Crary. So we're very excited, very happy about the process that lended itself to bringing Coach Crary, Emily, and their family here. And we're excited, man. We're excited.
Yeah, you're talking about Coach Ivory up there at Valley. He beat Winthrop in the NCAA tournament back in 2010 when UAPB beat Texas Southern for the SWAC championship. So you're right. You look around the conference, and I talked about this early on in the show. Are we starting to see an uptick in SWAC basketball compared to what we saw maybe a decade ago with the conference overall strength? Yeah.
I mean, these guys can coach. And that, it's flat out true. These guys can really coach, right? And we would make a joke, man. Our staff, we would call the SWAC tournament the Johnny Jones invitation, right? I mean, it was one year they were 8 seed, and people were getting excited about beating them in the regular season, and they were 8 seed, and they got to the tournament, and the light came on, right? And so, the quality of coaches, again, it's a trickle-down effect. When the head coaching is good, the assistant coaching is good, the recruiting then begins to improve, and then the quality of play on the floor improves as well. So, no, we've got a lot of great coaches in this league, a lot of potential for the league moving forward. on not just the men's basketball side, but look at the women's basketball side. I mean, Coach Funches is a legend. Coach Pugh just retired. They hadn't made a decision there yet. Coach at Texas Southern is pretty good. I think our coaches matches that profile. She's young, she's energetic, she's bold, she recruits well. So you got Janetta Hayes back at Alabama State, hell of a coach. You got Don Thornton at Alabama A&M, who's flat out coach. You got pretty good coaches in Florida. Margaret at Jackson State did a pretty good job this year, beat us in the first round and made it to the semis. So Valley made it to the tournament for the first time ever. So again, the product of basketball is improving in our league, and when that happens, you got to make sure that you have someone on the sideline to be able to stand up to what those other teams are able to present, night in and night out.
Let me ask you this, Dr. Scott, and we probably got about 5-6 more minutes here. What seems to be the biggest obstacle for us as a whole as we continue to improve our footprint in basketball nationally?
Out of conference wins. I think so. I think out of non-conference wins. Again, and it's starting to become more frequent, but not frequent enough to where we'll get out of being a one bid league. Again, you got a team like Southern. I think you guys were 14-4 in the league, 15-3. Traditional conferences you would get an automatic qualifier, but because we don't win enough out of conference games, because the RPI right on a strong holistically, we're having one bid situation. So I think that's the largest obstacle. Obviously, folks will say resources and money and NIL and that certainly may be the case, but we've got to find creative ways to ensure we remain competitive. And I know we are, and I've been told a couple of our counterparts within the league are doing it as well. So you just got to find your specific niche. Obviously, as HBCUs, we've got some unique attributes and qualifiers that lend the students to have a little bit different of an experience. You couple that with hell of a basketball, and you really got something, right? And so, those would be the things that I would say. Obviously, we're not, paying basketball players $1 million, right? Our coaching pools aren't even that. Hell, our coaching pools probably aren't even that for football when you total it out. And so, there's that presents a bit of a challenge, but we still have enough resources to be viable and competitive in the marketplace.
Let me ask you this as we move forward, and this is one of the conversations I've been having over the past couple of weeks, looking at NIL. How do we then maneuver moving forward in this ever so changing world of name, image, and likeness, and making sure, because I've heard from multiple coaches, we can recruit a kid. The first thing most of these kids are asking is how much.
How much? That's not most of the kids. It's all the kids. How much? How much you giving me, Coach? Coach, they're offering me $100,000. Coach, they're offering me $50,000, $25,000, $35,000. I want to be clear too. I think, we kind of confuse this deal, right? We say NIL. NIL is external to college athletics departments, right? So when you say NIL, no athletic director is going to worry about. I'm not going to say not worry about, but no athletic director controls NIL on the surface. Right? There's some other things we can do. We can leverage our corporate partners to support these student athletes NIL-wise, but these companies are choosing who they want to represent them through their names, images, and likenesses, right? So, we tell our student athletes, clean up your social media, watch what you share, right? Well, watch the music that you play, like things like that, because, if we're trying to foster that relationship with a student athlete, that company doesn't want to be involved with vulgarity and disrespect, right? So, that's one thing, and I think we kind of missed the boat on that. NIL is becoming internalized, and it's starting to morph into a more revenue sharing model. Matter of fact, it's not starting to; it is. So it's rev sharing now. If you do things with NIL, again, athletic departments, you can facilitate those deals, but they aren't what people would think. Well, what are y'all doing for NIL? Well, we're leveraging our partners. We're doing this, we're doing that. But partner ultimately decides, again, who represents them. The revenue sharing model obviously is a $22.5 million proposition. All right, that's how much revenue we can share with our student athletes, with 4% incremental increases in the next 2 years. Obviously, our SWAC counterparts aren't distributing $22.5 million worth of revenue, but that is the maximum that you can share. So any amount of revenue you bring in, you can pay out, and so it's about really, crafting a model of revenue generation for your teams and your sports. And with that also comes roster limits. So now you got 105 for football. We've already adopted that. I believe you got 28 or 29 or something like that for soccer, and 25 for softball. I think you got 15 for men's and women's basketball. So now you've got roster limits that you can scholarship up to those limits, right? So in some sports, the value is in the scholarship, and in some sports, the value is in generating revenue. Who's going to get the revenue? Well, in most cases, the sports that generate the revenue are going to be able to receive the revenue. Football, men's basketball, women's basketball, that's about where it stops. All right. Everybody else will get the value, scholarship-based value, in being able to get increased scholarships for their sports. Well, that's valuable because scholarships are $30,000 to some of these schools, $75,000 a year. So that has a severe impact on the budget. So how do we balance our books, redistribute or distribute revenue, raise scholarships? I'm going to tell you how. We've got to buy tickets. Stop asking for freebies. All right? We can't eat your freebie. I tell people that all the time. My kids can't eat that. A knee brace for an offensive lineman is $1,000 a pair. All right? We live, our lifeblood is revenue generated from season tickets, corporate sponsorships, right? And so we've got to generate revenue and find revenue streams in as many ways as possible to support our student athletes. All right? I know I got a lot of friends down there, just like I have a lot of friends up here, but they all buy tickets because I'm not giving them away. So you laughing? I'm so serious.
Look, I'm serious with you because I'm not an athletic director, and I don't even work in athletics, but yet I know you as an athletic director. I can only imagine the calls that you get because I get outrageous DMs and messages all the time of people asking me to get them free tickets and free stuff to events. So
what was it? Straight out of comp ticket? Yeah, that's a real thing, right?
Listen, Dr. Scott, I'm up against a tough time, man. Go ahead, give me a close out for me.
No, I just want to make sure that we all know that I know we're here to talk about basketball, but also understanding where we are in terms of the revenue piece of this deal. And whether you're a Southern fan, a Grambling fan, a Jackson fan, a FAM fan, buy tickets, support your student athletes, and I promise you all, you'll continue to see the level of play in this league across the board, raised. So we'll raise the standard. It's some talented ADs and coaches, and even presidents in this league, and everybody needs to get on board and support your institution. So that's how I close this morning.
Thank you, Dr. Scott, for coming on, man. Congratulations to you hiring a coach. We'll watch and see how things turn out for you up there at Grambling. We ain't necessarily cheering for you, but, hey, we'll sit back and watch and see how things turn out for you guys. And, man, appreciate you for coming on this morning. As always, I enjoy the conversation.
Hey, man, thank you.
All right, that's the voice of Dr. Travian Scott. Listen, let's get ready to take a break. When we come back on the other side, we'll continue more of the Jaguar Journal, all right?
Quarter with Jackson State leading 10-3. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again, throwing the football downfield. Oh, his receiver Hayes makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. And every time you think Southern struggles, they come back, they make a play. They've done it all year long. Kick is up. Kick is good. Second down and a yard to go. Again, They give it to Lewis. Lewis finds room. Lewis still on his feet. Lewis making a move to the outside. He's inside the 25, the 10, the 5. What a run by Ryan Lewis. 69-yard run for Ryan Lewis. And how about this? Kicks up, kicks good. Halftime, George Johnson along with Charles Mann. Southern trailed in this football game 10-7. Then they reel off 14 straight points, and they do it with the big plays.
And that's something that we didn't think would happen, at least from Southern's perspective. They've been able to methodically go down the field on people and win ball games, not the big plays. You saw the big play by Ryan Lewis running 69 yards, the nice throw by Terrence Levy. This is something that I don't think Jackson State thought they would see in Southern either, and they go into halftime down by 7 points.
Jackson State came in the best defense out of the SWAC. And if you take a look at the highlights, you will see that this club, and I'm talking about Southern, was really able to capitalize on a couple of miscues, and the big plays are the result of it.
And this is Daniel Guy with a nice stiff arm to Bradley Pittman there. And he runs that ball 36 yards inside for a touchdown, makes it 7-3. And then Terrence Levy, quarterbacking, throws a big bomb to Michael Hayes, who gets by Rashard Anderson and waltzes into the end zone for a 69-yard reception. And then the big run by Ryan Lewis, the scat back for Southern, races 69 yards for the score. And that's where it stands right now, 17-10. Southern is on top.
Passing leaders in the conference, Lionel Hayes from Grambling, your top passer. Washington second, but he's intercepted right there. This time the inside handoff,
and the ball was dropped to Tommy Head.
Here's Taylor in the pocket, looking downfield and looking for Leroy Fields, and this one looks intercepted, and it is.
He's played a lot tougher ever since. And this is a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
pass.
It's
a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable Michael Hayes. Hayes now with 187 yards receiving. 169-yard touchdown, 181-yard touchdown.
And Southern's came up with all the big plays.
They lead by 14. And that one is intercepted by Darden. Darden looking for some room, and Guyan will finally drag him down. But we start the 4th right after this. 2nd down and 20 after the penalty.
Oh, he's got a man wide open.
Going into the corner. Touchdown! Reynolds attempting the point after. It's good. A 32-yard field goal. Kick is up. Kick is good.
This is a great football game.
We knew it would be, though. Torrey Thigpen got us out of our seats.
And this is the punt return by Torrey Thigpen. We were just talking about we haven't seen him. He breaks 2 tackles and runs up the sideline. He has great blocking, but gets pushed out of bounds on about the 1 yard line.
And touchdown Jackson State.
The game is a game of momentum swings. Snap is good. The kick is up.
On driver. Yes, sir.
The ball up to the big receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
All right, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody out there listening. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. Of course, I'm out of the studio today, but want to welcome everybody that's listening on 107.3 FM across the Baton Rouge, capital city area, and everybody watching on our Facebook Live and YouTube. Glad to have you guys with us, man. Very special guest here on the show this morning. It's his first time being on the Jaguar Journal, so we're going to ease him in because he is an outsider, but nonetheless, it's SWAC, and we're talking some SWAC basketball this morning. So I want to welcome to the show very special guest. He's the athletic director at Alabama A&M, Dr. Paul Bryant. Good morning, Dr. Bryant.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing good, man. How about yourself? How's everything going up there in Huntsville, Alabama?
You know, I'm doing well, and everything's going well up here. We're gearing up for our spring game today, but we have we have an orientation, and then a baseball game at noon, and then our spring game today at 3. So it's a lot going on the Hill today.
I say good luck to you guys. How about that? Listen, let's talk about it, right? Big news because it's been all over the place, right? We had an opportunity to talk to Dr. Travian Scott about his basketball hire. Now I get an opportunity to talk to you, Dr. Brown, about your basketball hire because that's a big process for a lot of athletic directors, making sure you pick the right guy. Let's jump right into it. You hired a basketball coach this week. Talk about it.
Well, yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it is a big process. But for me, when I'm looking for a coach, I'm looking for someone who, first of all, is the right fit for the institution. And I've had the opportunity to watch the coach that I hired, Dante Jackson, as a player when he was playing for Central State in Ohio. And I was coaching in Ohio then, and been able to watch him grow. Then I hired him at Stillman College in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And then once I took over at Grambling, I knew that he was the guy. We hadn't won in 30 years there. And I knew hiring him would be the guy to get it done. And his first year, we won. We had a winning season. That's the first thing. And then they won the regular season, not the tournament, but just the regular season. And he's just a leader of men, and he can get it done. He's a program builder. And I know here we haven't had a winning season here since 2005. And I knew Dante was the right fit for that, to rebuild this program and get us back to where we're supposed to be. Coach Pettaway in his days, just consistently winning, and we want to get back to that winning way. And Dante Jackson, again, he and I have a good relationship, and as he stated, administration matters. And so I'm excited to have him on the Hill.
Saw you guys on social media. You were back to back. You said we're back. That means getting an opportunity of a guy that you're very familiar with. You talked about how long you've known him, but talk about, you in building this basketball program, what you saw from the previous year, from this past year, and what you're looking for out of your basketball program moving forward.
Yeah, so I'm an ex-basketball coach. So when I look at the fundamentals of a program, I look at how the students react to a coach. I also look at how they play. Once you're trying to get a lot out of them when you're late in the season, and sometimes they give up on you. And I know hiring Dante, I know his kids don't give up on him. And they work hard for him. They go through the wall. They will run through a wall for him. And so that was critical for me. And, seeing that over the last few years that our team, we were declining as far as our record. We were declining in our record. And I wanted to make sure you got to stop the bleeding. At one point, we stopped the bleeding, and I think now we're going to progress up like we're supposed to.
Got a new basketball facility that's there. You bring in another coach out of the conference from UAPB, and Coach Dunn Thornton in her first year at Alabama A&M, and she did a lot with that program, winning a lot of games. So overall, your vision, looking at athletics, you're realizing basketball is another door to be able to open in. And what we've seen with the SWAC and the NCAA tournament, Alabama State goes and win a game, which I know you don't want to talk much about them, but they go and win a game in the NCAA tournament this year. Southern University women's basketball becomes the first SWAC women's team to win a NCAA tournament game. But looking overall, where are we headed, in your opinion, in terms of a conference when it comes to basketball?
Well, I think you just hit it. We have a couple of programs that have done that consistently, and Southern being the first women, which I think if you pay attention to what's going on in the SWAC and look at the coaches that are being hired, and look at Alabama State just hired Jonetta Hayes. And I'm going to tell you, these type of hires are going to create an atmosphere that SWAC is going to be a basketball conference. And, everyone says that the MEAC is the basketball conference, but not only are we strong in football, we're going to be strong in basketball as a whole. And I'm excited where where the SWAC is going. And I tell you, Dawn Thornton has done a phenomenal job. She's done exactly what I thought she would do. Again, we're trying to energize our fan base here because they haven't been as successful in the past recent years. So it was, for me, I had to give our basketball programs a shot in the arm and say, let's go. And I think the two coaches that we have in those sports are going to do that and do that well.
Are you a fan? And look, I've been hearing, a lot of people saying when it comes to basketball in this conference, man, we got to get a better strength of out-of-conference victories because, look, quite frankly, nobody really likes the 16 seed. But looking at that 16 seed in that first four in, it's giving our conference at least an opportunity to win an NCAA tournament game. But so it's like, it's almost a good and bad type of feel because at the same time, people want a 15, 14, and lower seed. But at the same time, that 16 does give you a quality opportunity to go in and get a victory in the tournament.
That's right, and it does. And that 16 seed, it does give us an opportunity to play a team that's comparable to us and give us the opportunity to win. And for us, it's a unit. You win, you get those NCAA units for the next 6 years, and that unit is finances. So, yeah, I don't mind the 16. However, I don't think that our conference should play all these guarantee games because it really beats up your kids, and then mentally, whether we want to believe it or not, mentally it affects us going into conference. Then we're like, okay, we've lost 8, 9 in a row. Okay, let's try to win one. No, I tell my coaches, yes, play 2 or 3, no more than 3 game guarantees. And if you look at our schedule, that's the way we do it. But we play regional play because we want to get our RPI up and make sure that we're, when we do play, and let's say we do win the conference, then they may not look at us as a 16 seed because our strength of schedule is good, playing regional play and not all the game guarantee.
I want to pivot from basketball for a second because you also made a hire in football as well. Talk about that hire in football in the direction you want to move in even there. You've had your work cut out this year.
Yes, I have. They said, hiring 3 of the highest marquee teams in sports in the athletic department, it's been something else. It's been tasking. But seeing, I've been here, I'm in my 3rd year, and us losing to the rival consistently for the last 3 years and then not winning the big game, that became... Hold
on. Is that how you refer to them, the rival?
I do.
I'm sorry, you were going, but I just had to hold on. Like, is this what we refer to? That's just the rival. Okay,
that's
right.
The rival.
I'm sorry.
So, but you know what? Admittedly, so I did the same thing when I was the AD at Grambling. So I know the Jaguars. I said the rival. but seeing that and having that those consistent losses, and just seeing how the young men reacted in the program, I wanted to see that we structure the program a little bit better and have a better product out there. And I think hiring Coach Shade, who is a proven winner, and when I say leader of men, another leader of men, and believe in doing the program, doing everything the right way. We did a national search, and he came out on top, man. And we have some great candidates, but he's done quite well in that interviewing process. And watching him over the last few weeks of practice, I'm very impressed with how he runs his show, and also the coaches that he's hired. He's hired some guys that have played at the highest level, NFL and Power 4 institutions. So and he runs the program that way. So I'm looking forward to what's happening today. It's spring ball, so it's not. I know we're going to win today, but I know that I'm looking forward to seeing what he does this season.
Let me ask you this, Dr. Brian, as an athletic director, it comes with much criticism with the job. But for you, we are starting to evolve in athletics, right? And of course, you have those who have a lot of money, then you have those who don't have a lot of money and just trying to, hey, we got to find money here, there, and everywhere. What is it like on this level as an athletic director for someone like you, having to try to go out and you want to be successful in so many different departments in terms of so many different programs within your athletic department? What is that like for you to have a mindset? And do you have to now in this world become the business mindset and step away from the sports and athletic mindset in order to find success, to generate money, and find ways to continue success in programs today?
Yeah, I think that's the mindset that you have to have. You have to have a business mindset. And I think that has turned over the last 5 to 7 years to really, truly a business mindset. And yes, we do a lot more with less, but what we do is, instead of talking about, for me, what we don't have, I look at what we do and how we can repurpose what we have as financially. And then you have to be strategic in partnering with people that can do things for you. I'm not sure if you saw, just signed on with Deloitte. I have an alliance now with Deloitte, the largest accountant and partnering services in the world. But I've partnered with them to enhance our brand and also enhance the money that we have coming in. And so you get out there and you show who you are, show your strategic vision, and a lot of people want to give. A lot of people want to support. But we do a lot more with a lot less. And I'm fine with that, but because I know that what we're going to do is going to be more impactful. And then I see what the big boys do. However, yeah, you have all the resources. So I look at it as I have less, but I'm going to do something similar that you do. And the person that I have to say this, the person that I work with the closest is your AD at Southern, Roman Banks. He and we bounce ideas off each other consistently. And so a lot of things that I do, he and I talk about.
Let me ask you this, because Huntsville, Alabama is turning into one of the fastest growing metro areas in the United States. A very clean and nice place for families to move and live, tech savvy. How does Alabama A&M athletics sell itself to a community that has money, but then to say, hey, if you're bored, come check out some sports. Not only if you're bored, come be a fan of our sport. How do you tap into that Huntsville, Alabama, and surrounding area market?
Well, a lot of our graduates are engineers. And now the FBI is here. We have Redstone Arsenal. And so we tap, and a lot of our graduates are there. So we tap into that quite a bit. Yes, Huntsville is one of the nicest places to live in the country. And so we talk about that, but then we're the only Division I school in town. And so we're telling Huntsville, we're your Division I program. And so we go out and invite, the city council, Rotary, everyone to the game, and having a partnership with them. We give them tickets and, have them come. We want them to experience it. Of course, we want them to purchase stuff, but, in a relationship, you got to get to know somebody before you can ask them for anything. And so that's what we're doing. We're getting to know the community. Everyone is seeing our vision in athletics. And our president, Dr. Wim, his vision is global. And so they see what we're doing and they want to be a part. And that's why we're becoming to be successful in athletics. As far as the institution, I think we're second to none. To be honest, we're projected to be almost nearly 8,000 students this fall. Academically, our faculty are some of the best, and so now it's time for the athletics program to be some of the best.
And I look at that athletic program, and I like the direction of where you're headed. For you, when you talk about these interview processes, what is that like for you, and what are you looking for out of your coaches moving forward as you start to have the coaches that you've named to become positioned to be in position for success?
Yeah, what I'm looking for is someone who has a passion for helping people. If you're just looking for that self-gratification for, well, I did this and I won, and when you're talking when you're interviewing with me, that becomes an issue for me because I know it's all about you instead of we can do this, we can do that. So when I'm interviewing coaches, I look for that. I look for the person who can really articulate their craft. Every coach that I've hired, you have to come in my office and recruit me. And then you have to teach me. I have a whiteboard. You have to educate me on plays. Like in basketball, I had the coaches tell me about plays. And I'm like, okay, you got to coach me. You got to coach as if I'm a team player. And if you can't clearly articulate your craft, then to me, I know you can't do it to the students. And so that's what I look for. And that's part of my process. And I've been doing it for years. That's my process of hiring any coach. Now, I may not know about lacrosse. However, you're supposed, if I got lacrosse, you got to teach me how to play lacrosse. And if you can't, then you're not the coach for me.
You say by the time they're done with the interview, you better know something about lacrosse, huh?
I better know something.
And let me ask you also the same thing, this ever-changing world, and I always like to have this conversation with athletic directors, NIL and the collectives. What does this look like for Alabama A&M moving forward into the future?
Well, we're excited because, now we can't get away from it. So we have to adapt to it. So what I've done is I got with my team and I said, team, how can we be competitive in this world? So what we've done, we play these game guarantees. So we saved quite a bit. So what we're doing is taking some of our game guarantee dollars, putting it over into the collective, and then being able to offer some NIL dollars for our incoming students and our current students. So that's what we're doing. And it's looking good. It's looking good because so what we've done is just take some of our resources that we've had, fundraising dollars that we've had, and really put it towards that NIL and collective. And we're going to do more of that. We're in the middle of the 150th anniversary of the institution and this big campaign. So we put up an NIL collective tab on that page, and within 10 minutes we got $500, and people are beginning to give to that because they know that this is the name of the game now, and they want us to be as competitive as we can in this landscape.
Yeah, I'm curious because we have to take this serious because I talked to Dr. Scott, I talked to Chris Robertson at UAPB, talking the same thing with Roman Banks right here in Baton Rouge, having that conversation, and then with plenty of coaches. Hey, we recruit the kids. The first thing the kids saying is how much.
Yep. Well, now I'm gonna tell you that's another thing. So yes, the first thing they're saying is how much. Then I began to and I told my coaches, if that's the first question out of their mouth, how much you gonna give me? Then you need to look at, is that the right fit for us? Because we can give you so much more than just dollars. And now I kind of echo what Grambling's football coach was talking about earlier. Okay, do we put a buyout in? Put buyouts in for coaches. You put buyout in for athletic administration. Now, well, if you leave, then this is what you have to pay back, or something like that. But this whole collective piece, man, I think this model is the way it is now. It's kind of out of control, but the way it is now, I think it's going to be that way for another couple years, and then I think the regulations are going to come in and handle that. And what a lot of people are not doing, I'm sorry to go into this, but a lot of people are not training them on the taxes, the financial responsibilities that they have when they get this money. So you let's say the money comes from foundation, then you get a 1099 at the end of the season, at the end of the year, and you're like, okay, wait a minute, what do you mean I owe this taxes? I know you have to do that. Or if it's coming from the institution side and they're taxing out, then you're upset that all those taxes are coming out. But we do financial literacy, and that's part of the Deloitte. That's part of another program that we have here at Alabama A&M. We are educating first, paying second.
And I think that's huge what you're talking about in terms of educating when it comes to the money that's on the table, because no matter how much it is, there's going to have to be something that's taken out. And a lot of these student athletes don't quite understand, or because it's their first time maybe getting that sum of money in their hand at that moment. And a lot of times, I can remember being a student, they say something about a refund check. I already knew what everybody did. They went straight to the mall with that refund check. So I totally understand, even just from something that simple. But, moving forward, when you're looking at as your athletic department, what does the future hold for Alabama A&M in this athletics?
I tell you, I think the future holds for Alabama A&M, I think is really bright when you have a supportive leader, as you do with our board of trustees, and then with our president, Dr. Daniel K. Williams. I think our athletics program is going to be one of the leaders, not only in the SWAC, but in the country. That's what we're striving for. And we want to win at everything, on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. And so that's where we're leaning to. And I think in the classroom, we have that. I think we have a good plan there. In the community, we've done well there. Now it's just time for us to raise our profile in athletics. And I think that's what's happening now. That's what you're seeing now in the coaches that are being hired and the successes that we're having on our playing field.
Being in the state of Alabama, so many schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
How tough is it to have a footprint in terms of marketing in the state of Alabama?
But if you have your own niche, and I think our niche is you come here, you can go anywhere, and that is we're producing leaders already. And when we're telling our message, I'm not going to desecrate your message. I'm going to enhance mine and tell you about me, tell you about what we're doing, and tell you about that. I'm not going to sit here and talk negative about you. So while you're doing that, that's what the focus is. My focus is telling all that we're doing here at Alabama A&M. And I think by doing that, we've been able to strategically increase our enrollment every year. Prime example, our vice president of development and marketing, he put a billboard, the largest billboard in the state of Alabama is in Birmingham. And we purchased that board, and it sits over the city of Birmingham. And you can see it from everywhere. And it's Alabama A&M. We're doing things like that. We're being more visible in every area of Alabama. And so I think, strategically, our president and our VP, they have done a phenomenal job at creating that type of atmosphere in Alabama, where everyone knows that Alabama A&M is the largest HBCU institution in the state.
I tell you what, I was headed to Atlanta for the SWAC basketball tournament, and I have to come through Montgomery. As I'm coming through Montgomery, I'm thinking I'm in Alabama State Hornet land. What do I see on the billboard? Alabama A&M, come be a Bulldog, come be a part of the largest HBCU in the state of Alabama. I said, man, look, this is some real stuff. In Alabama State's own backyard, look, y'all don't play up there in Huntsville.
No, and you know what? That's of course things are done strategically. but you do that, and you notice people begin to notice, and then they did it here too. They put a
okay,
and so but it's okay because Alabama and Huntsville, everyone knows what the best is. Everyone knows that they don't have to go far to get the best. So you don't have to go 190 miles down. You can stay right at home and get the best here. So I ain't going to talk no mess.
Hey, look, when I saw it, I was talking mess because I said, oh, man, that's tough right there. They threw a billboard right up in these folks' backyard. But nonetheless, that's the type of marketing, because what I learned living in Pine Bluff, right? Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
Yeah.
And the same thing in many places. And we deal with it in Baton Rouge. A lot of people want the hometown kids to stay home and go to the school, especially the athletes. But a lot of times what we realize, those hometown kids, sometimes they want an outlet away from home.
They do.
And sometimes they want to go somewhere where it's probably not too far from home. It's within close reach. That's what Grambling and Alcorn is for a lot of Baton Rouge kids. And that's what I could say the same thing maybe for kids out of Montgomery. Huntsville it's within enough reach to be away from home, but then it's an opportunity to go somewhere to leave home, to want to see something and do other things that are different. That's integral in a young person growing and learning and maturing, especially when you're talking about the educational side.
That's right. And a lot of these kids, they do want to go away. And I'm saying, well, if you want to go away and get a great experience, then you must come to Alabama A&M if you're in Montgomery. So if anybody in Montgomery hearing me, that's what you need to do. You need to come to Alabama because you're going to get the best experience that you possibly can here on the Hill. And but that's all that is done. You know, we have our Dr. Brock Talley, who's over our admissions, and he makes sure that his counselors are in those areas, and we're recruiting. And a lot of our base, you know, our biggest bases, Huntsville and Birmingham and Mobile, but Montgomery is right there with them as far as us getting kids. So we make sure that we hit those areas and hit those areas tough.
And before I get ready to let you go, man, first I appreciate you coming on. You guys have a football game. It seems like you're going to do a series with Tennessee State. Tennessee State, who moved out of the Southern Heritage Classic. Of course, Jackson State moved out a few years ago. Then they were playing with UAPB. But you were able to negotiate and work out a deal with Tennessee State. That is a rivalry that a lot of people don't really know much about unless you're part of those programs. Talk about that game moving forward and what you saw out of the importance of Alabama A&M and Tennessee State renewing that rivalry on the football field.
Yeah, that was something that I've been working on since I've been here, and that is getting that game, getting those games back on a schedule. We began to play basketball, you know, we play other sports, but we wanted that football game. And working with Mickey Allen there, we were able to really sit down at the table and say, look, this is going to benefit both of us. So we're calling it the Legacy Series, and getting that game is going to, and playing home and home. And so we didn't need a third party to promote this game. We think that the game itself can do it, but then we're putting some other things behind it. We have similar vendors. And so our vendors are going to be sponsors of the program and of the games. And so we've decided to do something that most don't. You know, they get this third party vendor in or person in to promote. We're doing it ourselves, and I think it's going to be financially beneficial for both of us because we don't always have to go outside to create dollars inside. And that's what we're going to do.
Sound like a good game. I'm looking forward to seeing it, especially with you guys, Tennessee State, Alabama A&M, both programs moving in direction with new football coaches. And with your ideas in terms of Alabama A&M moving into the future, man, hey, I'll be watching. I've been curious to see where you guys are going with this, But right now, the hires and everything else, and I got to ask you this before I let you go. I know I keep saying, okay. What are you learning about yourself as an AD as the years go by?
I think what I'm learning about myself is that I'm more focused on the task. I see I used to own group homes for boys and foster care network, and my business savvy that I had running those really is helping me navigate these waters now in athletics and just being able to run the business. So I'm learning more about myself just through some of the decisions. And I'm going to tell you, every decision I make, it's a prayer to God first. Then it's like, okay, Lord, please help guide me through this and just make sure that I'm making the right decision. And thank God at this point, it's been great.
I totally understand. Listen, everybody that's out there listening is the voice of Dr. Paul Brown. He's the athletic director in Huntsville, Alabama at Alabama A&M. Dr. Brian, man, I appreciate you coming on this morning and having a conversation with me.
Well, I appreciate you having me. And, you know, I always say we're enemies only on that one day when we play. Every other day, we got to stick together because it's only us.
Man, I appreciate you, man, for coming on and being able to voice and show your vision for the department, man, as always, man, good luck to you guys and good luck to you as you continue to move forward on your journey up there in Alabama A&M.
Thank you so much. And as always, and I hate to say it, on the Jaguar show, but go Bulldogs.
All right, everybody, let's get ready to take a break. That's the voice of Dr. Paul Brown, Athletic Director up at Alabama A&M. Let's take a break, and we'll come back on the other side. We'll talk about Southern University spring football game, which will be taking place today at 1 p.m. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
T.R. Ricks is a fifth-year senior who's getting his first chance to drive the train that Bob talked about. And right now, he's driving it quite well because the Southern Jaguars are kicking butt in the SWAC conference. As Bob mentioned, 6-0 overall in the SWAC, and T.R. Ricks has played so well, over 2,000 yards passing. In the last 3 games running the football, he's been over 100 yards on the ground. The respect factor that he gets from his teammates is incredible. As a fifth-year senior who's never started, they elected him captain. And the numbers he has put up are represented on your screen. 27 total touchdowns on the offense, a pass percentage of nearly 60%. He could be the SWAC Player of the Year on the offensive side.
Best, and they're going to get a huge dose of the best offensive player in the SWAC, and that being Thomas Ricks.
Yeah, what Thomas Ricks has found a way to do is just beat defenses either with his arm, with his feet, or with his leadership capabilities, finding a way to win the games late with fourth quarter comebacks. He showed versatility and athleticism. He's a tremendous athlete that knows how to win, most importantly.
Really is a leader both on and off the field.
I just think it has come to a maturity level. I have a 4-year-old son, and, when he was born, I had to grow up fast and, just staying in school and practicing every day, trying to get better every day, just so he can have a better future. It's just been my inspiration. So, I just think that's my motor that drives me and, keeps me in the game.
His 4-year-old son, Collier, has not missed a game this season. They throw the football around in Rick's dorm room at Southern, and he says it's great playing football with Collier. 1st and 10. Ricks. He's got Vernon. Vernon makes the catch at the 45.
They can run the entire offense with all those guys in the game.
Ricks to Vernon. 1st down. Holmes in the backfield. Ricks. 1st down. Gage on the tackle, but not until Ricks picks up the 1st down. 2nd and 7. Ricks. Overstreet's got it. Across midfield. Ricks. As a receiver downfield. It's caught for a touchdown. Territory. Ricks. Fakes the pitch. Gets inside the 15.
He's in the type of young men that represent his philosophy in life and in football.
Ricks in a shotgun. He's going to run it out to the 10. And 2nd and 11 after the holding penalty. Sidearm toss. And a nice catch.
All right, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. Glad to have you guys with us. I'm Perry White. Good morning to everybody listening on Talk 107 Live, FM across the Baton Rouge, capital city area. Good to have you guys and everybody watching and listening on our YouTube Live and Facebook Live, man. Glad to have you guys. Great having conversations this morning. It is senior weekend on the Bluff. Southern University softball. We had an opportunity to talk to Coach Brittany Williams, and she said, come out and support the Jaguars. They're taking on Texas Southern this weekend. Texas Southern is the number 2 team in the SWAC West. Guess who's the number 3 team? Southern University. Guess who won yesterday's first game in the series? Southern University. So you guys make sure you get a chance to get out there and watch and support Southern University and the SWAC West matchup between Texas Southern in softball. Winners going to really put themselves in a position as we get ready to close things out on the back end. And Southern did go on the road last week and beat Prairie View in this series. Prairie View, who's 12-3 in conference play, is at the top of the conference. And not only that, spring football today, baseball today, a lot going on. Beautiful day to be on the Bluff of Southern University. Go over across the hump get a chance to get out, bring the family, bring the kids, get outside and enjoy. Walk the campus, ride your bikes, tailgate. I know my man Bar could be somewhere probably set up this morning or a little bit later, man, and anybody else, man. Just a beautiful day to be on the campus of Southern University and to enjoy athletics and sports. And that's what it's all about when you get opportunities to do that. Not only that, let's look at SWAC, and then let's look at Southern. And let's look at some of the stats from last year, because in the spring game today, Southern University is going to have at 1 o'clock at A.W. Mumford Stadium. Southern is in a position to try to improve off of last year. And most of all, when I say improve, we're talking offensively. 3 quarterbacks in the rotation last year, Xavier T-Set, Noah Biden, then you add in Jalen Woods, right? Now you lose T-Set, who's at Grambling. Noah Biden transfers out of the program, and it leaves Jalen Woods, who is the lone signal caller from last year. Watching Jalen Woods from the quarterback position gave Southern, in my opinion, from the passing perspective, the best opportunity at the explosive plays going down the field. But nonetheless, let's take a look at Southern's offense last year in terms of scoring. Southern ranked 10th in the SWAC in scoring overall, averaging 20 points a game. And then you look at the totals last year. Southern was 4th in the SWAC in total offensive production, 4,732 yards of offense on 31 touchdowns last year, averaging 364 yards a game. That was Southern's offense, 4th. The 3 teams above Southern in offense, Florida A&M, Jackson State, and Alabama A&M. Then let's go over to rushing, right? The issue early on with Southern and his run game was the offensive line play. Questions at what was happening. Could it get together? Could it form? Did it gel? And it did it after about midweek through the season. Southern's offensive line was able to come together, and you saw Southern being able to put together some great runs behind Kendrick Grimes and Kobe Dillon. Of course, both of those top running backs for Southern are both transferred out of the program. So Southern's going to be young at the running back position, especially with a kid by the name of Jason Gabriel coming out of New Orleans from John Curtis High School. But then you look at Southern last year, ranked 5th in the conference in rushing, averaging 156 yards rushing a game on 6 touchdowns. 2,000 total yards rushing as a team last year. Then we go over to the passing game, and this is where Southern, you will be surprised at where they ranked. 4th in the conference last year, averaging 207 passing yards a game off of 15 touchdowns, 2,701 yards passing last year, 3 teams above Southern last year. In terms of offense and passing, that's Pine Bluff, Florida A&M, and Alabama A&M. Of course, Pine Bluff had Mekhi Hagan as their signal caller, who was a 2,000-yard passer. Now we start to look at some of those leaders for Southern, and we're talking about offensively, right? Let's look at what Southern loses at the running back position. Kobe Dillon, who ranked 6th in the conference by the time it was all said in rushing. We lose him. Kobe Dillon on the season averaged 61 rushing yards a game with 801 rushing yards on the season. Crazy enough, Kobe Dillon only had 1 touchdown on the year. His longest run was 74 yards. Then you look at Kendrick Grimes. Kendrick Grimes was ranked 10th in the conference in rushing, averaging 49 rushing yards a game. His total yards on the season was 645 total rushing yards and with 7 touchdowns on the season. Then you add in C.J. Russell, who is also not with the program anymore, used up his eligibility. C.J. Russell ranked 22nd in the conference in terms of rushing, averaging 27 yards a game, 334 rushing yards on the season with 4 touchdowns. So Southern basically loses their 3 rushers, C.J. Russell, Kobe Dillon, as well as Kendrick Grimes. So that position is going to have a lot of work cut out for them in terms of the running back room. Now let's look at passing, right? Southern running 3 quarterbacks last year, but the leading passer out of all of the quarterbacks was Noah Biden. Of course, Noah Biden, the most experienced coming into the season. He had the nod for the starting position as we started the season underway in Lake Charles at McNeese. Noah Biden ranked 9th in the conference last year in passing. He passed for 1,219 yards on the season with 5 touchdowns. 9th. And out of all of the quarterbacks on that roster, and we're looking at 13 quarterbacks being ranked out in passing, Noah Biden led the way. Now what you saw out of Jalen Woods on the back end of the season was something to grow from. If Jalen Woods had to work his way from the 3rd spot to be the 2nd spot and the 1st spot. So it was a lot of snaps taken between Xavier T-Set and Noah Biden that Jalen Woods never got a chance to get into towards the end of the season, and would have had even more snaps if it wasn't for a concussion holding him out of the SWAC championship. But the top passer last year in the conference was Daniel Richardson from Florida A&M, passed for 2,000 yards. Only two quarterbacks in this league passing for over 2,000 yards last year. That's Daniel Richardson from Florida A&M and Mekhi Higgins from UAPB. Then on the rushing side, only one rusher in this conference rushing over 1,000 yards last year. That was Irv Mulligan of Jackson State. Donovan England, who rushed for 967 yards, was the second closest. And now we look at the receiving side of things, right? Southern's best receiver, Darren Moore, is ranked 15th in the conference. Overall, averaging only 36 yards a game and 434 yards on the season. Second to him, Dupree Fuller, the tight end position, ranked 21st in the conference with 370 yards receiving on the season with 2 touchdowns. Those are your 2 top receivers from last year, Dupree Fuller and Darren Moore. Devontae Gibson led the way on the receiving side for Southern University, 1,212 yards, along with Nathan Rampart from Mississippi Valley, 1,038 yards on the season. Only 2 receivers in the conference with 1,000 yards on the year. Only 1 running back in the conference with 1,000 yards rushing, and only 2 quarterbacks on the season with over 2,000 yards passing. Offensive struggles around the conference. I think you continue to see that, especially starting from the quarterback position. So you're going to want to see Southern and Coach Mark Frederick as the offensive coordinator. He talked about it a couple weeks ago, trying to improve this Southern University offense. It's going to be young with Jalen Woods as the signal caller. Even though he had those starts towards the end of the season, he's still a young guy in terms of the experience and snaps. Then you're looking at the running back room. You're looking at the wide receiver room. Not a lot of big-name talent coming back, especially being ranked amongst the SWAC in the stats. That's what you want to see the improvement on. On top of, I'm talking about all of that, factor in the offensive line and then getting those guys to gel together. It's going to be a tough hill to climb for Southern University's offense, I think, as you continue to move forward. But that's what I think all eyes is going to be on today. We've seen Coach Miller in the defense, right, continue to find ways to get it done and hold Southern in the ball game. All-American Kelby Givens should be on full display today, and watching the rest of the defense under his leadership. We know we don't have some faith in that. It's going to be Southern's offense that's going to have people scratching their head, and I think today that's going to be the big side to watch. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to take a break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll get ready to close things out. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
T.R. Ricks is a fifth-year senior who's getting his first chance to drive the train that Bob talked about. And right now, he's driving it quite well because the Southern Jaguars are kicking butt in the SWAC conference. As Bob mentioned, 6-0 overall in the SWAC, and T.R. Ricks has played so well, over 2,000 yards passing. In the last 3 games running the football, he's been over 100 yards on the ground. The respect factor that he gets from his teammates is incredible. As a fifth-year senior who's never started, they elected him captain. And the numbers he has put up are represented on your screen. 27 total touchdowns on the offense, a pass percentage of nearly 60%. He could be the SWAC Player of the Year on the offensive side.
Best, and they're going to get a huge dose of the best offensive player in the SWAC, and that being Thomas Ricks.
Yeah, what Thomas Ricks has found a way to do is just beat defenses either with his arm, with his feet, or with his leadership capabilities, finding a way to win the games late with fourth-quarter comebacks. He showed versatility and athleticism. He's a tremendous athlete that knows how to win, most importantly.
He really is a leader both on and off the field.
I just think it has come to a maturity level. I have a 4-year-old son, and, when he was born, I had to grow up fast and, just staying in school and practicing every day, trying to get better every day, just so he can have a better future. It's just been my inspiration. So, I just think that's my motor that drives me and, keeps me in the game.
His 4-year-old son, Collier, has not missed a game this season. They throw the football around in Rick's dorm room at Southern, and he says it's great playing football with Collier. 1st and 10. Ricks. He's got Vernon. Vernon makes the catch at the 45.
They can run the entire offense with all those guys in the game.
Ricks to Vernon. First down. Holmes in the backfield. Ricks. First down. Gage on the tackle, but not until Ricks picks up the first down. 2nd and 7. Ricks. Overstreet's got it. Across midfield. Ricks. As a receiver downfield. It's caught for a touchdown. Territory. Ricks. Fakes the pitch. Gets inside the 15.
He's in the type of young men that represent his philosophy in life and in football.
Ricks in a shotgun. He's going to run it out to the 10. And 2nd and 11 after the holding penalty. Sidearm toss. And a nice catch. Ricks on the 1st and 10. Little draw play. Takes it outside. He's got the first down.
But Ricks going to take it up the middle. On 2nd and goal and score the touchdown. Rise and it'll get cloudy again. And under the sun, Ricks on 2nd down and goal holds on to it for a 2nd touchdown run.
Get open and make play. So that's good ball distribution. That's also passing. They're going for some more, Jim.
And they
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
Talk about offense, we talk about Southern, and it begins with their passing game.
Tom, beyond potent, we're talking about high octane, we're talking about fast break, we're talking about 41 points a game, some 500 plus yards since Terrence Levy has taken over this offense.
Because that young man doesn't drop any ball.
With the legacy that you started here, you got to feel happy to see it continue on with Doug Williams.
Ball now back at the 22-yard line. Levy, no pressure at all. Touchdown, Ingram. The Bayou Classic. Levy on a 1st and goal play. Throws a touchdown. Grambling comes with a blitz. Levy steps in the pocket. And his pass is caught. One-handed grab.
Sort of in the middle of the road of the SWAC, but immediately they jump on the Jackson State defense. And here's Levy rolling out. And the pass is caught. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver Hayes makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. If you're going to get, I got some free tickets. Look out for it, brother. Going downfield. Oh, and what a play by Southern.
Score. He's played a lot tougher ever since. And this is a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
It's
pass.
a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable Michael Hayes. 3rd down. And 23 for a first. Levy over the middle. Nice pass that time. 2nd and 20. Levy doesn't have to get it all, but he's going to have to pick up some yards. Here he is throwing. Nice catch made.
Big receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
Hayes makes the catch. Hayes still on his feet. Hayes looking for blocking. Hayes trying to find a hole. Hayes is still on his feet. He alley-oops. He's inside the 15 and drawn out a foul.
All right, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal, man. Glad to have everybody with us. I'm Perry White. Glad to have all of our listeners across the Baton Rouge capital city area on Talk 107.3 FM, and everybody that's watching and listening on our Facebook Live, as well as our as well as our YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, X, as well as you can type us in the Jaguar Journal, Apple Podcasts, as well as Spotify. We're all over the place. My man Mike working hard behind the scenes with me, making sure that we spread the word about the Jaguar Journal. Want to thank Coach Brittany Williams coming on today. She's the head softball coach over at Southern University as they have the senior weekend against Texas Southern this weekend. Thank her for coming on. Thank Dr. Travian Scott. He is the athletic director of Grambling State. Thank him for coming on today and talking to us as well about what's happening up at Grambling. Then Dr. Paul Bryant coming from Alabama A&M, the athletic director up there as well. Having conversations this morning just about athletics, and then for everybody else, of course, we know if you're on the bluff today, Southern University spring football game at 1 o'clock. Then you're going to have softball first pitch at 12 o'clock, and then baseball as well. First pitch today at 3 o'clock, taking on Alcorn, the Braves. Southern fell short yesterday, 11-7 to Alcorn. They have Alcorn at 3 o'clock today, and then wrap up things with Alcorn in the 3-game series on the Bluff tomorrow at 1 o'clock at Lee Hines Field. And then before I get ready to get out of here, let's look at some SWAC standings, right? I want to give you guys an update what's happening in SWAC baseball. Starting at the bottom, got Alcorn State this weekend's opponent for Southern. They're 1-12 in conference play. You look at Alabama A&M, they're 2-11 in baseball in conference play. Jackson State 4-9. Mississippi Valley 4-8. Then you have Southern right there, 5-8 in conference play, 13-9 overall on the season. Above Southern, the Golden Lions of UAPB and Prairie View both tied at 4-6. Then you have Grambling State at 8-5, Alabama State at 10-3, Texas Southern at 10-2, Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M at the top of the conference in baseball. Bethune-Cookman at 11-2, and then Florida A&M at 12-1 in conference play. Both those teams, Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman, only two programs outside of Jackson State with above 500 records in the conference. Jackson State, although they're 4-9 in conference play and on a 5-game losing streak in baseball, they're 16-15 overall on the season. But Florida A&M overall is 18-14, along with Bethune-Cookman, who's 18-16 on the season on baseball. So that's how things wrap up on the baseball side. So if you're going to be on the Bluff today, be sure to get over there and check out baseball and Coach Crenshaw and his team taking on Alcorn State. Hopefully they can knock out the next 2 wins in this series and close it out. And then softball taking on Texas Southern over there. It is senior weekend, so go congratulate those 5 seniors who have dedicated the years of their life to Southern University. And then you get over there to the Southern University spring football game at A.W. Mumford Stadium at 1 o'clock. Listen, take what you may from it, all right? It ain't August yet. Just take what you may from it, if that makes any sense for you. All right? It's going to be a process. Coach Graves and that staff have some work to do. You will see that work being put into play today. But nonetheless, get over there, enjoy yourself. Enjoy being on the Bluff. Bring out the bikes, bring the dogs, bring the kids. Get out, walk around, enjoy just being on the campus of Southern University. Get a chance to go over there and look at the river on the Bluff, one of the most beautiful and scenic views in all of the city. The river should be high with all of that rainwater coming out of the Midwest and Ohio Valley, River Valley, and coming out of Arkansas and everywhere else. So should be a good sight for you guys, man, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. I am out of the studio today, but I will be back next week. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. Mike, thank you for everything you're doing back in Baton Rouge in the studio for me and everybody out there listening, man. Thank you, guys. Be sure to go follow the Jaguar Journal on X, on Instagram. Hit that like and follow button on our Facebook if you're watching on our Facebook Live, and as well as hit that subscribe button for all of you guys that are listening and watching on our YouTube, and you can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So if the man says the same, I'll be back next week at the same time in the same place as always. It's the Jaguar Journal. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thank you.
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.